So you're walking through Rome in the year 500 AD. Where are you going to go first? Maybe you'll head over to the Colosseum, but it's under construction. So maybe you'll just walk around the Forum instead, passing the spots where Julius Caesar was assassinated and where Jesus may have given his testimony before Pontius Pilate. Or if you find those stories boring, you can always stop by the Pantheon, the best preserved ancient Roman structure still standing. But all these tourist traps are nothing compared to what your Instagram would look like if you took a trip to Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be walking through the streets of the greatest city on earth in the year 500 AD. Our trip begins in modern-day Istanbul, Turkey, formerly known as Byzantium and later Constantinople, the New Rome. Founded by the Roman Emperor Constantine in 330 AD, this became the new capital of the Roman Empire after Rome in the west was sacked by the Visigoths in 410 AD. And so now it is the center of the eastern half of the empire. The Hagia Sophia was built by the order of the emperor in 360 and was the largest church in all of Christianity for nearly 1,000 years. Its massive dome was so large that people thought it was a trick of perspective and walked into its base to see where it began. The interior is decked out with gold leafing, marble columns and mosaic work depicting Bible stories from Jesus' birth to the final judgment. And although this was once the seat of the Bishop of Constantinople, it was converted to a mosque by the conquering Ottomans in 1453. And since you've worked up an appetite sightseeing, let's take a walk down the Mese, the main street of the city, past shops selling spices from India and China, fresh fish from the Sea of Marmara, and sweet pastries made with ingredients from the faraway Egyptian province of Alexandria. We'll pass groups of men playing dice, boys trying to sell you fake gladiatorial helmets, and a group of women heading home from the bathhouse. Some of them are gossiping about how the emperor's wife just returned from a trip to Antioch. She must have taken the Silk Road across Asia because she's brought back fine fabrics from China and India. They also say there's trouble brewing between her and the Empress Dowager. Theodora hated when her husband Justinian I named his wife as his heir presumptive, meaning that unless God decided to take him out first, she would become empress after he died. So she spent all that money on fancy clothes to remind everyone that yes, she is still in charge here, but there's no time to get caught up in the intrigues of court. A famous chariot race is about to begin in the Hippodrome. These races are so popular that attendance is free and the stands are packed with spectators from all walks of life. There's two classes of citizens, the original Roman inhabitants and the freed slaves who live outside the city walls. But on race day, the Hippodrome unites all the people of Constantinople. Let's cheer on our favorite charioteer, the Blues, as they tear around the track in their brightly colored chariots. But wait, someone in the crowd is holding up 4 fingers. That's the sign of the Aquila, one of the 4 main factions of charioteers. They hate each other so much that fistfights break out all the time. And if the police don't break it up, the fight will continue long after the race is over. Oh, and did I mention that the Blues and the Greens used to be best friends? Well, they aren't anymore. The feud goes way back, at least to when the emperor tried to add a 3rd race team to the mix. He wanted to promote unity in the empire by mixing the Blues and the Greens together to form the Whites, but that didn't really work. Just look at the name of the 3rd faction. Yeah, they're called the Reds. As the sun sets over the city, we can see the Golden Horn, the strait that separates Europe from Asia. In ancient Greek, the name meant where the sun sets or where the sun sleeps. Many civilizations have risen and fallen around here, including the Greeks, the Byzantines, Romans, and now the Ottomans. Each culture has left their mark on the area. For instance, this lighthouse was built by the Romans, but the Greeks had a temple here before that, which the Byzantines destroyed when they erected a church. But right now, the Muslim Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror is preparing to attack the city. Could this be the end of the Roman Empire? We'll have to find out next week. Meanwhile, it's lunchtime, so let's grab a bite to eat. This is a typical meal for a wealthy family in Constantinople. On the menu, we have fish cooked in vinegar, a salad made with beets, cabbage and radish, some figs and grapes for dessert, and a loaf of bread baked in a vinegar and olive oil-based sauce called lagana. The working class might have something similar, but more often than not, dinner consists of whatever the vendors at the market are selling that day. The big question is, do you have enough money to buy food, or are you one of the many impoverished Christians who beg on the streets of the great city? For the rest of the afternoon, we're going to visit the most lavishly decorated church in town. This is the Church of the Holy Apostles, built by the order of Emperor Justinian in 527, right after he rebuilt Hagia Sophia into a church. Once inside, we're going to sit on these hard marble benches and watch the sun come through the stained glass windows. It paints the interior of the church in a beautiful array of colors. Too bad the church only ever held the relics of St. Peter, and the other apostles never actually set foot here. And the ceiling falls down a lot. Did I mention that? Because it does. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Over here is the Church of the Nativity, believed to be built on the spot where Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Not to be confused with the current Church of the Nativity in Israel. The original version was constructed in the 4th century and heavily supported by the emperor. Why? Well, he's got a lot of churches named after him. Look, the Church of St. John the Baptist, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, even the Church of the Ascension. It's as if the guy wants everyone to remember that he exists. Wait, could that be true? Let's head to the palace and meet the man himself. Welcome to the imperial court of Justinian I. The emperor is busy writing his name down in history by commissioning a new code of laws, the Corpus Juris Civilis, otherwise known as the Justinian Code, which would serve as the basis of law for both the Eastern and Western Roman Empire. He's also extending the empire's borders by sending Belisarius to conquer North Africa, Italy, Spain, and France. Finally, the old Rome is being restored. And why not? All that sacking and pillaging is expensive. If we're going to keep this place running smoothly, we need to update the aqueducts, repair the roads, and refurbish the public baths. Oh, and we're building a new church. And if you want to help out, throw a few coins in this jar. And for the love of God, stop throwing gold at statues in the forum. They're not going to bless you. We're now walking through the great palace of Constantinople, the home of the emperor and his 1,000 court officials. We'll pass a golden throne room, complete with a rotating cylinder that makes anyone sitting on it look like an all-powerful god. Then we'll pop into the throne room for the Empress Theodora. Here's where she entertains guests and watches chariot races. But let's move along before she forces us into a marriage proposal. Next, we'll pass by the Church of St. Sergius and Bacchus, then the Hippodrome, which we already visited earlier today. But now it's night, and the festivities have begun. There's dancing girls and musicians playing instruments from all over the empire, such as the lute from Arabia, the rebab from Persia, or maybe even the sitar from India. But the real party is happening in the taverns of the city. Everyone is drinking wine from France, Spain, Italy, or Egypt, depending on how rich you are. And you better believe that this tavern is full of soldiers, merchants, priests, courtiers, beggars, acrobats, and fortune tellers, everyone with their own stories and rumors to share. Well, that's the end of our tour for today. Hope you enjoyed walking through the streets of Roman Empire's capital in 500 AD. Leave a comment below if you would have liked to visit any other places. As always, thanks for watching.